Hello my friends and welcome. Let's start this video from the Frontline update. A unique situation today happened in Pokrovsk direction, where Ukrainian soldiers nearly were encircled by Russians, but with the help of the counterattack using drones, our guys managed to get out from the trap. Let's watch the very interesting video. So here we go. The video is presented by the 25th Separate Paratroop Brigade of Ukrainian Army. And here are the Russian soldiers. They are encircling Ukrainian dugout and they already imprisoned 4 of the Ukrainian soldiers. You can see everyone is surrendered. This is the dugout here, and I put my image aside for a while. You may see how many Russians are out there. At least 7 Russians and 4 of the Ukrainian soldiers who probably surrendered because Russians started to drop grenades inside this dugout. But what happens next? You'll see it clearly. Over here there is a Ukrainian drone coming to hit Russians precisely. The counterstrike of Ukrainian drone operators was coordinated with the help of the command of the 25th Paratroop Brigade. Lots of the kabooms, lots of the precise drone strikes. Our guys just lie down on the ground and were waiting for this mess to finish. And later on the job was finished with the help of the drone drops. As I was informed, definitely Ukrainians went back to Ukrainian positions. Finally, as the outcome of this operation, they were not taken as the prisoners of war by Russians. And here is the brief explanation from some of the OSIN analytics, like for example Special Hears on Cat, very nice channel. They share lots of those Frontline videos. So during an assault on observation post, Russians reconnaissance and sabotage group captured 4 Ukrainian servicemen. The enemy group escorting them was later detected by Ukrainian aerial reconnaissance drones patrolling in the area, and you saw the result. Taking advantage of the chaos, the Ukrainian soldiers managed to break free from captivity. Russian troops attempted to hide in the bushes and trenches, but within minutes more than 10 Ukrainian strike drones engaged the group. Result? The enemy personnel were flatlined. An absolute fantastic work, but I have the question why our guys were first of all surrendered by so many Russian forces here. So what was their mission? It definitely shows that this group of the Russian soldiers was not spotted at the proper time and our guys were not informed. They were basically trapped. And it's luck that Russians didn't flatline them right away. And our guys finally managed to escape, but I think you may agree with me that it was late reaction or lack of the informational coordination. And we have one more video about this case. So definitely 4 of the Ukrainian soldiers, Russians took them and they were coming back to the Russian positions or the Russian controlled territory. It happened at the same place with the same dugout you can see here, and the chaos spread after Ukraine started to use multiple of the drone strikes and the drone drops. Then the Ukrainian soldiers started to run. Yeah, they broke out and the Russians stayed there. I don't know whether they opened the fire, but all of our guys, they survived. Luckily, we have those videos from the multiple perspectives, but I haven't seen those kind of the operations. Then drones really helped to save our soldiers from captivity. And about prisoners of war, well, recently this Ukrainian soldier was captured by Russians. They imprisoned him because he was wounded. He wasn't able to leave his position, but what happened next is just crazy. So we have this report with English translation. In Donetsk region, a wounded Ukrainian soldier was captured by the Russians and convicted them to surrender. The occupiers agreed because their own comrades had abandoned them. So Russians lost the communication with their command and basically were abandoned, but they got this prisoner of war, so they decided to surrender with him to Ukrainian side. One of the Russians said that they're grateful for the rescue because if they had started to move from their position, they would have been spotted by Ukrainian drones and annihilated completely. So their only ticket for freedom was that wounded Ukrainian soldier. I mean, freedom from Russian army. Still they're in captivity, but they have, I guess, more rights in Ukrainian prison than in the Russian army. And they will live longer for sure. So according to Militarny channel, the wounded Ukrainian soldier has already been handed over to medics. And here's the photo. Let's continue with this topic of captivity and prisoners of war. So not long time ago, Russians have advanced towards Kupiansk and even further, far behind the settlement. It was like this uncatchable espionage group, or maybe special forces, marines, whatsoever, well trained. Then they were spotted by Ukrainian surveillance drones. They disappear into local buildings, basements, whatsoever, but they were not hiding for long. They were captured.
Я в нем, а Герасимов говорит иначе.
So, Kupiansk, I'm here. This is our local commander in Kupiansk, and they captured a couple of the Russian soldiers there.
Но есть один парадокс, Валерий Васильевич. Есть казаки, как вас зовут?
They captured those Russians. And they're in the central part of Kupiansk. So, Gerasimov may put a red color on entire Kupiansk. Well, actually, he already mentioned that Russia captured that city completely. Liberated, that's what he said. And probably those guys, this Lolik and Bolik, they're Russian liberators. I mean, this is so crazy. Just imagine covering such a long distance. It's not a single day, guys. Under this cold, very freaking cold weather. It's not just cold. It's freezing cold. Hiding from the drones, from everything, and finally ended up, well, at least not being flatlined, but captured. They will leave. That's the good thing. Well, for them personally it's good, and then our guys, they have this opportunity to imprison Russian soldiers. They do it because it's better to exchange them for Ukrainians. By the way, we have some of the good news coming about exchange. Umerov, who is one of those negotiators from Ukrainian side, hinted that probably there will be exchange, but whether it's going to be all on all, I have doubts about it. I think there will be some limited exchange, and there were no exchanges for several months already. So I hope that the work in this direction will be done by negotiation groups. Because for the recent time, Ukraine caught so many Russians in those infiltration attacks that most of the time for Russians finish not so good as for those two guys.
Как видите, Валерий Васильевич в бронежилетах и в каске.
As you see, yeah, they even have guns. Yeah, obviously they're offloaded. The idea here, as our commander says, is to troll Gerasimov. You see, you have your soldiers here in Kupiansk in full munition, so you may like show it on the Russian propaganda TV. We give you this opportunity.
С оружием, а я без.
He says, you see, Gerasimov, they're armed. And I'm not armed. I don't have any sort of the armor, you see? So maybe they took me as a prisoner here.
Гибридной войны. Сейчас хотел бы обратиться.
Oh my god. He's trolling that hard. He says Gerasimov. Well, he mentioned Valery Vladimirovich. It's name and the father's name of Gerasimov. The next time Putin asks you why there is one more video like that from Kupiansk and you have reported that we liberated that one, well, Gerasimov, you may say that it's the special hybrid war. Oh my god, this guy, he's not funny himself, but he's making so sarcastic, dark jokes. Nice, nice. Yeah, and he says, just look at them, they're just covered kilometers and kilometers, day and night. They're in hunger, they're thirsty, very cold outside, and they're being left without any sort of the support just for the suicide operation for what? And here he refers to relatives and mothers of those soldiers, mothers, I don't know, relatives, yeah. But Russians, they mainly, I see that they don't care. And sometimes they're even happy to receive this compensation from the Russian Defense Ministry for their fallen loved ones. That compensation could be substantial for them. It's just a photo of the same soldier, one of those, just for you to understand that, no, it's not them captured Ukrainian commander, it's vice versa, yeah. It was just a joke. Well, I think that those Russians will be safe. They don't even have frostbites on their fingers, so they're lucky, freaking lucky. Uncatchable Russian soldiers. Alright, to the other frontline updates, this video was presented by the 72nd Separate Motorized Ukrainian Brigade. They ambushed the Russian Solntseperk TOS-1A system, but there is also something unique about this one. This is the Russian territory, Belgorod Oblast. The system was on the road, on the run, there was the crew on board. At first it was stopped, but later on completely finished with the second drone. And with the second drone, the Solntsepok system just started to kaboom and kaboom. Shells after shells started to explode. The thing with this Solntsepok system, that somehow the hatch for personnel to get out from it successfully, it is right under this huge freaking shell launcher. Right here, they made it, and it's very small, a very small hatch. So if something happens, to evacuate this one really fast, it's not possible, as for me. I saw this system once on parade. It was in Kiev, Ukraine. Yeah, back in 2022, Independence Day. I saw this one, and the hatch is really small. I could barely fit there. Really, I thought. I didn't try, but it was really tiny. I think that even in a tank it's larger, but here I think that the chances are pretty much low for the fast evacuation. Alright, here Russians are saying that they ambushed Ukrainian Himars, that there were two of the houses, and this is Himars. Somehow it is Himars, so we should understand that it is. It's definitely something there, some rectangular thing, but they say that it's Himars. Alright, let's watch this video. Okay, even if I believe, for example, let's believe that it's Himars, where the shell went, Iskander shell. Those are two dugouts here, yeah? Not dugouts, but some of the buildings maybe, and this is Himars. And they freaking missed. It was really far away, even for shrapnel. I think it's the long distance to hit everything there, but Russians say that they flatline Himars, which is 20 kilometers away, I mean this place, from Russian border. Ukraine will never ever deploy stationary in an open field Himars that close to the Russian border. Himars, they work, they go, they fire, and they retreat right away. It is not stationary, so I don't know what Russians allegedly hit there, but first of all, they missed, and secondary, I don't believe that it was a Himars system. Guys, about the front lines, from the new updates I have that Russia used lots of the long-range drones to hit Ukrainian supply vehicles not far away from Pavlograd, but it happened the last week. So now those Starlink systems are being disabled for Russians to use. I think that they cannot renew those strikes any longer, but they still might use the drones like Landsats because they are not equipped with a Starlink system. However, they're already kind of vulnerable to electronic warfare systems, which Ukrainian army has. The only change for today, and actually it's the milestone for Russia, that they fully occupied Toretsk. Hooray! For that they wasted 540 days, as it was reported in even Russian publics. 540 days of the fights for Toretsk. It's more than a year, but still less than 2 years. So maybe that's some sort of the achievement. It's not even a city, and Russians were fighting 540 days for it. Also, they moved towards Pretechnya yesterday, today, and their goal is Konstantinivka. Well, maybe in a couple of years they're gonna occupy this city too. Yeah. Oh, this is hilarious. By the way, I took it from the Russian channel, the compilation of the Russian official media reports. So Konstantinivka will be occupied in August-September 2025. September, different media. No August somehow, till start of winter, so till December. In January, and till the end of the winter. Well, with this scale, it could be, as I mentioned you, 2 years for this settlement of Konstantinivka only. This is not a thunder, this is Russia, renewing the strikes on main Ukrainian cities and targeting Ukrainian civilian infrastructure once again. So how long this energy ceasefire lasted? Maybe 3 days maximum. And Donald Trump himself, during his press conference or whatsoever in Oval Office, stated that Russia promised not to strike Ukraine till 5th of February. He said it by the time Russian strategic bombers flying to launch those missiles. Drones were already in Ukrainian airspace, and ballistics was aiming and also launched on Ukraine. So Putin agreed not to bomb Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities for a week until February 5th. I asked him and he announced it. So Trump claims that complete energy ceasefire is now in effect. Well, Putin might say that, Donny, I attacked not the energy infrastructure, but Ukraine shut down our ballistic missiles and they hit energy infrastructure. Putin may say even that. He is a freaking murderer. So he knows that the temperature in Ukraine is the coldest possible maybe this year, and he wants to take this opportunity to terrorize Ukrainians even more. I contacted my mates in Kyiv, and they say that it's outstandingly loud in Kyiv, in the capital city of Ukraine. And judging on this video, you may see as well, there are no any strike points here, just some of the flashes and mostly audio, which is like a thunder. So how you want to negotiate with Russia? Even your calls are not working, Donald Trump. Like 1 week ceasefire, but Russia says till the 1st of February, and today is the second one, so they start their attacks. So even those direct talks, they're not helping to stop Putin, even for a week. What are we even speaking about? Then they negotiate. It's pure circus. Putin should be stopped with sanctions, with more support for Ukraine. That's the only way. All right, if we touch Donald Trump, let's speak about this post. I'm not going to read it entirely. It's too much of the bullshit here. But the most interesting things I want to pronounce. So this is the post dedicated to Prime Minister of India, Modi. And he agreed, according to Donald Trump, to stop buying Russian oil and to buy much more from the United States and potentially Venezuela. And that is the main reason for Donald Trump to really push India to stop buying Russian oil, because he wants to sell his own. He's not speaking like that to China or to other buyers of the Russian oil. He just sees this opportunity that he might have some of the influence on Prime Minister of India and on Indian market itself, so he goes full in on it. And he will also drop tariffs from 25 to 18%, so by quarter. And by the way, India hasn't yet announced whether it's completely going to stop purchasing Russian oil. It lowered the rate of the purchasing of the Russian oil. The main Indian government companies stopped doing it, but still private companies continue to work with Russia with short contracts for 1 maximum 2 months, but they continue to purchase. We'll see the outcome of everything of that, but the similar letter Donald Trump published well before. I think it was October 2025, and he already stated that India stopped purchasing Russian oil. Then the fact it wasn't like that any closer. Oh, it's been a while since unknown drones were discovered by our NATO partners, and today one was spotted not far away from Warsaw. Well, it's actually far away, 100 kilometers at least. Unknown drone crashed on the grounds of military base in Przaznisz. It's hard for me to read Polish. 70 meters away from the weapons warehouse. According to the Polish media, the drone was spotted by personnel, but they were helpless. They watched it fly and could do nothing. It tells a lot about the air defense in the region, especially after those drones were spotted in multiple of the countries, so even military bases are not being well protected by some of the drone interceptors. NATO countries, what is the drone interceptor? When you'll start to invest a lot into that technology and to train your army personnel to use them, because soon, and even now, you have to do it. The facility where the drone crashed is specialized electronic warfare unit. It monitors radio space in northern Poland, including the Suwalki Pass. I think it's kind of important base facility whatsoever. So maybe our NATO colleagues will try to do something to protect at least their military. An aviation accident happened in Russia, the city of Orsk. This is the DA-42 Diamond Industries aircraft. Not this one in particular, but this particular model, Russian registration. It belonged to the State Flight Academy, something like that. So Diamond still supplied some of the spare parts to Russia. So despite the sanctions, company continued to supply aircraft technical documentation and production equipment to Russia. As a result, in 2021, Russia's Ural Works of Civil Aviation launched localized serial assembly of those airplanes. Due to these sanctions violations, numerous of Russian pilots were able to receive flight training on this aircraft type. Yeah, mostly they go and work in civil aviation, but sometimes they go to military. Especially right now, then there is a crisis in civil aviation. There are lots of the pilot layoffs in Russia. So they go to military. That's why, am I sad about this crash? Nope. Alright, Cruella de Vil or Tulsi Gabbard, the Wall Street Journal published a very interesting information about her. A United States official has alleged wrongdoing by United States spy chief Tulsi Gabbard in a complaint that is so highly classified. It has sparked months of wrangling over how to share it with Congress, according to the people familiar with the matter. So there is a whistleblower, and he uncovered something really dirty. In this article, they say that could gravely undermine the United States national security, that they just locked this case in a safe. That is what they say. Yeah, say to be locked in a safe, disclosure of its contents could cause grave damage to national security, one official said. And it's all about something wrongdoing of Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard did something very bad. Somehow I'm not surprised, because she just likes dictators and she's a traitor of the United States of America. I guess if she likes the enemies of the United States of America, including Putin. And why she's not taking part in those assessments over the strikes on Iran, why she's not involved into the team planning the attack or strike on Venezuela. Why? Maybe because she liked Maduro, she shared her love openly in her posts, and now she's a director of the spy agency, intelligence of the United States. Oh my god, this is so low, guys. But I'm not surprised about this one. Hopefully, this whistleblower will continue to post and we'll find out what they're hiding. Alright, now separate thanks for my Patreon supporters and members of the channel who make this content possible. My friends, thank you so much. My content is available also on Spotify. The link for it is in the video description right below. And you may check my other channel on YouTube. It's also with the video description there. Also, there is my Twitch. I try to stream every day, at least a couple of hours. I'm starting at 8 p.m. Berlin time, so it's the Central European time. It's the daytime for the United States and evening for Europe. And I have the live chat there for YouTube, for Twitch, for Kick, and I see everything, all of your comments. Sometimes I don't reply right away, but I see everything what is happening. So if you want to really to communicate, welcome to my streams. And now, my friends, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video and subscribe for the channel to boost my content in algorithms. Thank you so much for it as well. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.